recording started. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Okay, welcome all to the presentation on blockchain in interdisciplinary research. Blockchain technology is getting very popular, and also it has many implications and possible research aspects for many disciplines. So this is the purpose that we want to highlight today, that how blockchain can be used in the selected disciplines, especially from our university perspective. So let's start, inshallah. So in the presentation, first of all, I shall highlight the importance of blockchain. Then I will explain how blockchain has evolved. Initially, it started only for cryptocurrency, but now it is being used for any kind of application which can relate to any discipline. And then inshallah, in that I will also explain the idea of the blockchain, that how it works, the architecture, and the characteristics as well, that why blockchain is so popular technology, why is it being adopted by all the people. And then inshallah, we shall highlight the research issues or kind of applications in these areas, which we have selected for today: agriculture and food services, medical services, business administration, engineering, and law. So the idea is that to encourage the interdisciplinary research, which is the theme of the central lab. So inshallah, CCSIT is also there to collaborate with all of you, inshallah. So importance of blockchain. Blockchain is being considered as a technology which has revolutionized the world again. So you can see that is being shown in the statistics as well, that 46.40% of the global blockchain spending by Sagar by 2024. So this is estimated. And the interesting thing is that in 39.7 billion project blockchain market will be there in 2025. And this is now 3 billion in 2020. So around more than 35 billion growth is expected. And also you can see that it is estimated to be $1.76 trillion, that how much blockchain will boost global GDP. So there is a great potential that it is also going to increase the GDP of the world. And these are some of the other statistics. And also the blockchain spenders worldwide are the 29.7% is in the banking. So usually it is considered that banks are maybe avoiding. So you can see it is in the banking sector. The process manufacturers, they are also using spending 11.4%, and discrete manufacturing 10.9%, and retail 6%, and professional service 6.6%. So blockchain is being spent as well, means for the cryptocurrency in the world as well. And here are some statistics which show the spending by the region. So top is US, around with the $4.2 billion spending using the blockchain, and the least one is the Middle East at the moment, Middle East and Africa. And then is the Western Europe, which is getting with the blockchain, going with the blockchain, and Japan is also getting. But interesting fact is, it is estimated that China will lead in the coming years. It will be the country which will have the maximum utilization of the blockchain. So here are some of the use cases which I have selected, which are getting popular for the blockchain. So digital currency, obviously it was started for digital currency, and still it is the leading use case of using the blockchain, 33%. These are interesting ones, which spans over multiple disciplines. So data access and sharing, 32%, data reconciliation, identity protection, payments, you can see even the normal payments have been started, as I shown the previous statistics as well. This is very interesting application, track and trace, that whatever you do, you can track. For example, something is manufactured in the industry, and until it is sold at the retail shops. At every step, it can be traced, track and trace. So this is really very important feature which many applications, this can be applied to all the disciplines. So inshallah, in the coming slides, we shall discuss that as well. And then, yeah, asset protection and record reconciliation, certification, and asset transfer. So these are also, you can see that these use cases are for 2020. It is from the Deloitte, it's a big firm, and they have done the survey, and these are the statistics presented by them. It's the current usage. These are the current usage of the blockchain in 2020. So what we can say in the conclusion, or blockchain is growing market, and it has a potential to generate billions in revenue in just coming few years. It will be very good money making technology, but obviously the technology, blockchain and related technologies are still under development, and yet they are not adopted in the mainstream, and they are continuously expanding their capabilities because active research area for the many academic and practitioners. So in conclusion, we can say that in the few years, these technologies are going to be fully mature, and then it will be accepted as a mainstream, inshallah, technology in the world. So this is that we can see that these statistics show that blockchain is really very important, and still a lot of research opportunities because continuously expanding. So that's why we selected to discuss this topic today. Now we want to see a little bit the concept of blockchain, that how it evolved. Initially, it started from cryptocurrency, and now any kind of applications we can develop for all the disciplines which we have selected for today. So one misconception is blockchain a cryptocurrency? Because this today presentation is focusing on the non-technical aspect. So that's why I shall try to remain non-technical as much as possible, inshallah, so that people from all the disciplines can understand it. So this is a misconception that blockchain is a cryptocurrency. No, it's a technology which stores the transaction. So cryptocurrency is different. It is just using the blockchain technology to store the transactions. So I hope now it will be clear that the people who think blockchain is a cryptocurrency, it's not. It's a technology. So blockchain one, it is just the terminology one. So it started as a ledger for the digital currency. The first digital currency which got popularity is Bitcoin, and it is the most expensive currency at the moment. And it stores the transactions. Like when we go to any shop, any bakala, you will see whenever they are selling something, they store it in their computer or in their register to note the transaction. So similarly, whatever transaction happens in the world, which is using blockchain, so it's stored that. So blockchain is kind of a register. We store the transactions. And at the moment, obviously, it's not only the Bitcoin currency in the world. There are many new currencies available now. Many other currencies have developed over the period of time, which includes Ethereum, Litecoin, etc. And the cryptocurrency, in the cryptocurrency Bitcoin allow the sale and purchase of transaction between interested parties without any need of third party. This is very important to understand, that in the transactions using the blockchain, we don't need any trusted third party like banks. Inshallah, in the next coming slides will explain this concept in more detail, and this is the main power of the blockchain, that why it is being considered as a preferable parallel currency as compared to our currency being used in the world, the printed currency. So this is the main reason that it is for the transactions, it does not need any third party to make the transaction successful. Okay, so we made this point clear that blockchain is a technology which is used in the digital currencies to store the transactions, and it's not itself the digital currency. it does not stop here, the blockchain, as researchers continue to work. So they realize the potential that why not blockchain can be used more than just storing the transactions. So they come up with the idea of smart contracts. Smart contracts are same like you can say the digital form of our daily life contracts. Whenever we do a contract with any company, with any shop, what we do, we define the rules that the contract will be valid until these rules are implemented. And those rules are applying to all the processes in the contract, whatever we do. For example, a company makes contract with a MasterCard that all the employees will be provided the money whenever they need it until they remain in the limits. So all the rules related to that contract, that whenever any employee want to use the MasterCard, according to the contract, he should be entertained by the MasterCard. So those contract rules can be implemented in the smart contract, and they are secure. They are secure that no one can interfere or no one can modify those rules and the working of the smart contract from the technology of the blockchain. So that's why it started being considered as a very good option to implement the smart contracts. So it developed automatically. So how it works, the blockchain and the smart contracts are developed to automatically enforce the rules, between the interested parties. So this does not work for the financial market only, rather to store the transactions, rather it can be applied to all the applications, all the disciplines. And especially in the financial market, it started gaining popularity for stocks, for bonds, for loans, for mortgages, and smart properties. So in short, what we can say that smart contracts blockchain to help to implement the complete cycle of contracts between the interested parties. And it did not stop here. It did not stop here that blockchain means stopped at the smart contracts play, but it was realized that it has more power. So it went towards being a platform to develop secure general applications, which can pertain to all areas of life. And that was called blockchain 3. So in blockchain 3, it is considered now as a general platform to develop distributed, means not relate only in the control. The control is not with the central body, rather many people can control the working of the blockchain. So this is one feature. And second, it's secure application. So this is the reason that blockchain has been adopted not only in the financial markets, rather beyond the monetary markets, beyond the financial and payment services. Now it is accepted in all the fields in the life. And especially I want to highlight here because we all know that Internet of Things is getting popular, and so blockchain is being considered as a very good, very needed technology to support the development of the smart world based on the sensors, based on the Internet of Things. So with these features, it has become as a technology which is acceptable in the universe and global scope, which was not previously possible. So this is the reason that blockchain 3 is accepted, and that's why every discipline in the world, every domain in the world are trying to use the blockchain for developing their applications. So let's understand the idea of the blockchain first, and then inshallah we shall discuss it in more relation with our selected disciplines. So idea of blockchain. As you know, I explained that blockchain started to store the transactions between the transacting parties. Like you can imagine that one person wants to sell anything and other person want to buy that thing. So usually you have to pay through the money, the cash, which is usually issued from the banks. So you had the debit or credit card of the bank, which you get, and then you go and pay to the person, and bank transfer that money to the person. But it is different here in the blockchain. The here blockchain transfer the access between transacting parties without any third party. Inshallah, in coming slide, it will be more clear. So blockchain also keeps track of the user's balance of the currency, like same like your account balance in the bank, that when you spend some money, your account balance is updated. Similarly, in the blockchain based digital currencies, when you spend some money, your balance is also updated. So let's see and let's understand the concept of digital currency so that it will become more clear to you, inshallah. Let's compare how the traditional currency, which is issued by the banks, how it works, and how the digital currency works using the blockchain. So this is a simple scenario which is used by the banks for transferring the money. Imagine that you are transferring your funds to someone in overseas, maybe from Saudi Arabia to USA, maybe Saudi Arabia to Pakistan. So what happens, how the process was, sender goes to some uh, sender goes to some money transfer operator like Western Union or Raji or money time something. So these kind of operators, the sender goes to them and provide the details of his account and the receiver account. So the money transfer operator, they initiate the transfer through the bank. They are partnering with the bank. So the bank, they share the fund information to a clearing house. So they have a central body which clears the transactions, and then the transaction is processed and the money is sent to the overseas bank, instructed the overseas bank, and overseas bank then provide funds to the receiver. So you can see between sender and receiver, these all are different kind of uh, third parties, which are obviously secure and which we believe them that uh, they are here to help us and our funds are secure. So what happens? Blockchain replace all these intermediate uh, operators. All these intermediate entities are removed by the blockchain. So how the blockchain works? For example, this is the seller and this is the receiver or purchaser. So what happens? They just do the transaction between themselves. So they can transfer their briefcases between them. There is no need of any third party, no bank, nothing else. And your transfer is secure. So all the guarantee which was being provided by the banks, by the money operators, by the clearing house, all that is handled by the technology. So that's why there is no need to spend money or give the fees to the intermediate parties so that they clear your transfer. So this is the main power of the digital cash money. It is secure. No one can change or steal your money. This power comes from the technology, which is called cryptography. I'm not going to discuss the cryptography here because for that background information is needed, and obviously it's interdisciplinary presentation, so I will skip those technical details. But that's the reason we are here to help you, inshallah, for the research. Also, you can see that in the blockchain, so there is no need of any third party. So no fees for banks, and this is also one of the reasons that banks are means the reluctant, because the currencies in the digital in the world, the printed currency is guaranteed by the banks, and ultimately the benefit is also going to the governments. But when you start paying the money directly to the receiver, so what happens? This monopoly for the banks is affected, so they cannot make money. That's the reason that many governments are reluctant to accept the digital currency. But as you know, it is getting very popular, and governments are also finding their ways, and they are thinking from different aspects. That's a different discussion. But due to the potential in the blockchain, and it's getting popular, so that's the reason even now governments are starting accepting the blockchain. So what is the benefit? Again, coming to the point here. So the transacting parties participate in the transaction. Only the transacting parties, no need for any third party. And blockchain facilitate these transactions and store the details. So digital currency is there to pay the money between the transacting parties, and who records all this transaction details? It is the blockchain technology. So now the question is how blockchain work? How does all this information is recorded, and how is it secure that no one can interfere, no one can steal or change your money in the account? So let's discuss the working of the blockchain. So these are some of the components of the blockchain which make it possible for the blockchain to work in the way it is. So I will explain the concept of transactions. What are blocks? What do we mean by wallet? Who owns the coins? Who owns the digital currency? The network, and then the mining process. So I shall inshallah try to explain them in non-technical aspect so that everyone can understand it inshallah. So transaction is, so whenever any two or three or more interested parties sell or buy something without any need of any third party between them, it is called transaction, as I explained earlier. So it is without any third party. And usually transactions consist of one or more inputs or one or more outputs. This is very important to understand. So input means the money sent by a user of digital currency, or you can say a customer. And output means money received by a user or the seller. Why this is important, that input and output should be related and consist of means make sure they are related to each other because of double spending. Double spending means because the money is only in the digital form, so same money should not be spent more than one time. And this was the main problem in the past, that digital currencies were not being accepted. And the idea was there for a long time that people were thinking to use the digital currency. But this power became possible that double spending should not happen with the power of the blockchain. And that's why digital currencies has started or has become functional with this invention. So this is the transaction concept, that any transaction between any sender, any seller or any buyer, it is recorded in the blockchain. Okay, now the other concept is block, that why this was named as blockchain. So what happens, a blockchain is made up of blocks. So you can see this is one block, this is block 2, this is block 3, and they are linked with each other. So that's why this is called blockchain, the chain of blocks. And what is in the block? The blocks store the transaction information. Blocks store the transaction information which can be recorded as asset transfer. So asset here can not only be digital cash, but also it can be anything in the world. That inshallah we will discuss later. But you can imagine here, when we are progressing discussion, you can start thinking for your discipline that it can be any transaction between any kind of systems, and it can occur like that. And it occurs in a network on any other manner of data exchange. So please also ensure that here it can be any network. It does not be only the human people, human bodies. Also, it can be the different devices communicating with each other, and their communication can be recorded. So this is considered as a this can be considered as a blockchain application. So this diagram, you can see there is a blockchain header in the upper part, and there is a blockchain body in the lower part. blockchain header is storing the information. The links between the blocks and the lower part is which is the body of the block. It is storing the transactions which are happening over the network. So as shown in the previous, each block is logically divided into two parts, the header and the body, the header and the body. So body section contains the transactions information, and the header section contains the ID of the previous block. So header 1 contains some ID of the previous block, which is not that maybe header block 0, but I will explain what is the special case for the first block in the blockchain. Block 2 contains the address of the blockchain 1, and similarly it is like that. So the first block, which does not contain the ID of any previous block, it is called Genesis block. This is a special block because it does not contain any of the previous block. And you can see these all blocks are chained with each other like a linked list. So that's why it is called blockchain. Okay, so this is the idea of block and the blockchain. Then there are wallets. So same like you have bank account and you have your account is managed, how much money you are spending, how much money you are receiving. So this is same like wallet. So wallet stores the information which is necessary for the transactions. So it includes the user credentials, obviously the who is the owner, or it is hidden in somehow that your name is not shown, rather your some kind of identity is shown, which we will discuss inshallah in a minute. And it stores the currency information, that how much balance you have, like this diagram, this picture showing five bitcoins as the balance for the person. And when someone spends this currency, it is updated. So you can see there are the features available like paying someone, transfer money, invoicing, or crypto wallet. So ownership, this is important, that who owns the money. So owner is usually identified by an address. So you will not be seeing the person name over there, rather there will be some address, which is a cryptographic concept. I don't want to be technical, but you can consider that it is a unique identity for the user. So that person is identity is unique in the world, and that identifies the owner of the Bitcoin. Can you please mute your mic? We shall take the question inshallah at the end. Okay. So we are here to show the ownership. So each user is identified by an address, which is the unique identity in the world. And that person is identified from that address. And what happens if that address information is lost by the user? This is very, you can say, the bottleneck point for cryptocurrency. If you lose that kind of information, you lose the ownership of your Bitcoins. And that identity is only known to you in the world. So that's why it's very important that you keep your that identity information safe. If you lose that, then what happens? You lose the ownership of the coins, because no one in the world owns the digital currency or in Bitcoin. All the people, they own the currency, but as such, there is no guarantee by anyone. Like if you, for example, in the real world, money matters, the guarantee is from the banks, from the government, that when you produce some amount, so they are recording it. And if you open the account in the bank, even if you lose your identity card or your credit debit card, still bank maintains your money and you remain the owner. But in this, if you lose your identity information, no one is storing that information, and that's the very bottleneck, that you will lose your money. So this is also the reason, because the currencies are not backed by anyone. That's the reason that government are reluctant to accept it. And that's the reason that people in the start, they were not going to adopt this technology that if they lost the money, and this is true even in the world, for Bitcoin, which is the most expensive currency in the world at the moment, there are many floating Bitcoins that no one owns them. So this is true. This is the limitation. So to be able to spend the digital currency, you must sign the transaction. So like when you in the real world you pay by check, you sign the check, and then the receiver can go to the bank and get your check cashed. So similarly, in the Bitcoin, in the digital currency, you also sign, but that is digital signature, and that is also related to cryptography, but I'm not going to discuss over here. But you can understand that whenever you are going to pay someone, you will sign it with your unique identity, that it is you who is really paying the money from your account. And later on, you cannot say that you did not sign it, because in the world with your identity, only you can sign. No one else can sign on behalf of you. That is the power from the cryptography. So that's why you cannot say later on that you did not sign it. So this is that you own the thing and no one can own your money. But if you lose your identity kind of information, you will lose your money. So this is power, as well as this is the limitation of the cryptocurrency. Okay, how this all work? That whenever you make a transaction, you can the transaction is approved, and who is the part of the that you can say the cryptocurrency or the network. So basically, if you think like you are also living in this world, but you are not using Bitcoin, you're not involved in the if you don't own the Bitcoin, you're not part of their network. You will become part of their network as a node only if you will purchase some digital currency, then you become part of them. So this is a very powerful concept as well, to understand that the network is meant that it consists of the nodes or the devices who want to participate in that network. For example, you can think of your any plant who can become the part of the blockchain. You can think of any medical device who can become the part of the network. You can think of this node, this network consisting of the devices in the maybe you can see the business transactions, or you can think for the law enforcement bodies that the participants are from the government, from the police, from the ministry, from the court, all the people, they can make a network. So in the blockchain, a network consists of the group of devices or computers, which are known as nodes. So you can see this small diagram that every node is linked with every other node. So this is how the network of the blockchain work, that this blockchain network is a peer-to-peer network. And it is different from the server and client. What is server and client? That in the real world, when you are browsing the internet, you type some website, for example, www.kfu.edu.sa. So you become the client because you have requested for the website of the King Faisal University. And when you enter this address in the Explorer or in the browser, so a response comes to you and a page is displayed to you on the screen. So that response comes from the server, because university has a dedicated server which is entertaining the request from the clients. But in blockchain, it's not like that. In that, anyone can become server and anyone can become client. For example, you join the blockchain network, so people may start requesting some information from you. In a minute, it will become clear what that information is. So you will act as a server that you will provide that information. And also, you can request some information from the people from other part of the network, and they will become the server and they will provide you that information. So that's where blockchain is called a peer-to-peer network, where every node is acting as a server as well as a client. So what are the responsibilities? The blockchain nodes are responsible for verifying and approving the transactions. done in the digital currency, and that process is called mining. So please remember, in the network, anyone can join, anyone can request the blockchain that you want to keep the record of the blockchain with you. So any node in the network can request that, and any network node can become the part of this process to verify the transactions, the mining. This is the reason this mining business is getting popular, that people are going to mine the information for the blockchain, and because it's a public kind of thing, anyone can join, so anyone has the resources and he wants to earn the money, he can become part of the mining process. So, because no one owns the cryptocurrency, so anyone in the world can become the part of the public cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum. So inshallah, in a minute, more discussion is coming. So this is the concept of network, that it consists of different nodes who want to be part of the blockchain and make the communication happen. And that can be for any reason, for the money transfer, for any other communication in the network. The mining process. So mining process is to verify that transaction has happened. So it is kind of a record keeping service which use the computer processing power. So the mining process happens that it keeps the blockchain consistent. As you know, blockchain consists of the blocks and there are transaction information in the block. So that blockchain should be consistent throughout the whole network. As you know, the network is consisting of the people who are part of that blockchain, and every node, every person in the network can have a copy of the blockchain. So all the people, all the nodes in the network should have the same copy of the blockchain. And that process is achieved through mining process, that blockchain is consistent and it's unalterable. No one can change it. This is also the power of the blockchain, that any information recorded and it has become part of the blockchain. Now no one can change it, and that is stored. So here you can consist of, for example, any recording you are doing for your plants, that whether they are provided seeds, they have been watered, or they are given any other, for example, medicine, or so that information can be stored in the transactions. Or for example, in the law, you can think of that any evidence is received and that evidence has become part of the blockchain. Now no one can change it. No one can modify this evidence. Later on, it can be presented in the court. So all the disciplines you can think of your ideas that which you want to apply the blockchain. So that information, once it is recorded, it is approved, now it is secure. So how this transactions become part of the block, because there are so many nodes in the network who want to record their transaction. So what happens? A new block is accepted as part of the blockchain when the miners approve it. And for that, they also have to generate a proof, which is called proof of work. So what happens? These transactions are approved by the miners. These are special nodes in the network who want to participate. Anyone can join the blockchain, but miners are the special nodes who want to work on the proof of work to keep the blockchain consistent. So proof of work is kind of a task which can be given to you, for example, to maintain that all the transactions are correct in the blockchain. You need to verify that. So if you do that, you will get an incentive, because you are going to help the blockchain network to be managed and to remain consistent throughout the world. So for this computation efforts you provide to the blockchain network, you get some incentive. And this is how the miners are making money, because they are helping to keep the blockchain secure, blockchain consistent. That's why in return, they're earning money. But this is not very simple. It requires a lot of computational power, and you need very powerful machines, which are very expensive, and continuously they are working. So they are consuming the electricity power, which is costing you money. And there are many estimates. I don't want to be going in details, just to give you the idea that when you mine, you keep the blockchain consistent, and everyone can do that, but you invest the money in terms of computers, in terms of making them run, managing them, and at the end you maintain the blockchain and you get reward from the network in terms of the same digital currency which you are supporting. So if you have become part of the Bitcoin, you will be getting reward in the Bitcoin. So these are the concepts which everyone should have understood now. So what is transaction? What is a block? What is a blockchain? What is a wallet? Who owns the blockchain and the network? Now I tell you the process that how it works so that everyone can rationalize and try to apply this concept of the process to your field as well. When I am describing with respect to the digital currency, you can think of the applications which you would want to use to work with the blockchain. So in the step, as you know, the P2P network. So P2P network is formed, which you know it consists of all the nodes who want to be part of that network. So anyone who will buy that Bitcoin or digital currency, because we are here at the moment focusing on the digital currency. So I will continue the example with the digital currency. So anyone who wants to purchase that part of digital currency, he will become part of the peer-to-peer network. And if you buy the Bitcoin, if you buy the Ethereum, the Litecoin, you will join the network. So for example, how the process works, in the step one, someone in the peer-to-peer network requests a transaction that you want to buy a car, you want to buy something in maybe in the USA, and you are sitting here. So that you don't need to go to the banks and you just directly want to pay to the other person. So how the communication happens in the step two, the requested transaction is broadcast to the peer-to-peer network. And that peer-to-peer network consists of the computers which are known as nodes. So as I just explained you previously, that the nodes are there as a part of the network. So that information is broadcasted to them. And then the validation happens in the step three. The network of the nodes validate the transaction and the user status using the algorithms. So there are different algorithms which are there to verify this. And once the verification is done, the verified transaction can involve cryptocurrency, it can involve contracts, or it can record or other information. So you can think of any information for your field which can be recorded in the transaction. And then the verification happens that once the transaction is combined with the other transactions. So once you validate and verify that the enough money is there and the user really wants to transfer the money to the other person, so then that happens. And then what happens, the transaction is stored in the block and that becomes the part of the ledger. And then in the last step, a confirmation is done. A new block is then added to the existing blockchain. So in this way, it becomes permanent and unalterable. Once the transaction is committed, it becomes unalterable. No one can change it. No one can modify it. No one can corrupt the information. So that transaction information becomes part of the blockchain and it's there for whole life of the blockchain. So similarly, you can think of any transaction now for your discipline from your network. Inshallah, more discussions coming to you. So this is the working of the blockchain, the steps, how the blockchain work, and the information that transactions are committed, especially with respect to the digital currencies. Now, before we discuss the applications for your disciplines, one concept is very important to understand, that who can own this blockchain. As you know, the nodes in the network can own the copy of the blockchain and they become part of the network. At the moment, as you see, we are only knowing the blockchain from the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. They are public cryptocurrencies that anyone in the world can join. But what about if you are thinking a project only for your organization, or you are thinking a project only to do the plants for your organization, that you have some palm trees or which you want to record, or you have some factories who are manufacturing something, or you have some civil engineering construction work being done and you want to record the material and it will be only for you. So then what will happen? Will it be open for all or it will be only for your company? Yes, so the solution is there. There are different types of blockchains. So some blockchains are called public blockchains, which are categorized into multiple types. Based on their usage and based on their distinct attributes, we categorize the blockchains. So first thing is called public or permissionless blockchain. In public or permissionless blockchain, they are truly decentralized, that no one, only not one party makes sure that the block or transaction is accepted in the blockchain. Rather, multiple nodes participate in that. So it's a truly decentralized, and all members or nodes can become part of the network, that anyone in the world can join the digital currency network and become part of it, and anyone can also access the blockchain contents. If you want to participate in publishing the blockchain and maintaining the blockchain, you can become a part of that because it's permissionless. Anyone in the world can do it. And that's the reason that many people are joining the mining business. And they are termed as permissionless because anyone can maintain a copy of blockchain and engage in the validating the blocks. And the examples of public blockchains include any cryptocurrency networks such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. Because they are public, anyone can buy the Bitcoin, anyone can buy the Ethereum coin and can join their network and even participate in the mining process to earn more money, to earn the incentives. So this is the public blockchain, but also we have private blockchains. And there are two types of private blockchains which can be used to develop the applications for different organizations. So one private blockchain, which is for single organization, that is called private or permission blockchain. In that blockchain, when you make a network of the participants, only the allowed participants can join. So usually those participants can belong to a single enterprise. Like for example, we can set up a blockchain network of our own university only for KFU employees. Or there are other types of blockchains which can span over multiple organizations. Where you want to have the partners in your contract, you have to partner with the other organizations so that they can become part of your project. So there is a solution as well, which is called consortium blockchain, where in the node, multiple organizations can participate and the transparency and all the information is kept between all those organizations. So that kind of organization is called consortium blockchain. So here we have identified that we can have the limited version of the blockchain where only our allowed people can join the network in terms of private or consortium blockchain, or there is another option of public where everyone can join. So these kind of concepts can be applied to our projects, our applications, which we want to record for our projects. Okay, so now we discuss some kind of applications which are getting popular or some kind of projects which can be done in our selected disciplines for agriculture and food services, in medical services, in business administration, engineering and law. So that is only for the KFU. All other colleges are related to these disciplines. So that's why we have selected them so that blockchain can be seen as a technology to contribute to the success of your discipline. Obviously, I was given only 1 hour to explain that, so I will be limiting the discussion. So first of all, the most important discipline in our university is the agriculture. So what is the potential of blockchain in agriculture is, so as you know, it's a system that can store the information even for multiple parties to store the actions and movements of the assets. Okay, and it has made it possible to share the data. For example, you're sharing your plant's data information or anything else, and you want to share it with other partners, so that can be possible. So improved data sharing, it can reduce the 1 trillion problem of food waste. This is the estimate that if the blockchain is applied in the food area, in the food chain, so it can stop or in the fraud, and it can reduce the 1 trillion food waste. We'll see inshallah how you can think of that from the start till the end, all the food items are being recorded, how the information, the data is being transferred, so that can be recorded. So this can help to reduce that. Also, blockchain promise to increase the traceability, which could assist in preventing the spread of food-borne pathogens that cost around $55 billion per year, $55 billion per year. So this is again from track and trace application, that, for example, something is developed or something is grown in the farms from the farmers, then how that is sold to the companies in the industry, how they process it, all that information is recorded, and that is linked with the previous information. So you can record that how much was generated from the farmers, how much, which organizations collected that grown assets of the farmers, and then how they process, then how they pack, and in this way you can understand if they add anything extra, they manipulate, so then that can be recorded as well, that this much was the total growth and how you have sold this level of the grain. So this kind of information can be track and trace, and frauds, and the food frauds can be stopped, and which can cost around 30 to 40 billion annually. So you can see it has a big potential for the agriculture. So what applications can be there? Food production, from farmer to manufacturer, blockchain can work with the IoT, the sensors which you are deploying with your plants in your farms, and that the production information can be stored in the blockchain, and which will be secure. Then the traceability, that you can connect with different inputs like supplier, the producers, and the buyers to improve the traceability, that where your product is being sold, how it is being and it's being processed. The food safety, it can be for the food safety and integrity, which can be enhanced through traceability. Then land registration, that this is the big problem, and this the blockchain is the solution for land registration and record keeping purpose. Monitoring weather conditions, if you are using the sensors, and you can analyze the data related to climate, so farmers can be able to make the decision related to the farming. So that can be supported with the blockchain. Also managing finances, that you obviously we have discussed a lot about the finance, about the transparency for the transaction of the finance related to agriculture. So these are some 10 possible use cases which are getting popular in the blockchain. So the disruptor, they have listed them like overseas farm inventory, overseeing the farm inventory, the enhanced agriculture supply chains, farm modernization using the softwares, sensors based IoT, agriculture tech optimization, fair pricing, agriculture subsides, oversight, and community and mobile remittance for small farmers, and greater accountability, and incentivizing the sustainable practices. So these are the different use cases for agriculture where blockchain can be applied, and it can span to all your research which you are doing in the farms, which you are, for example, getting the equipment or keeping track and trace for anything. So this can be applied. This is very interesting for the law people, that how blockchain can be used. So it has very wide aspects in the law industry. So chain of custody, that you get some evidence, you store them safely, and then you can report them as a forensics evidences, and no one can change those evidences. So that is very popular application for the law enforcement organizations. It can be used as smart contracts with the transparent legal documentation or the reduced document security cost, for also for intellectual properties, like you register copyrights or you register the patents, so that information can be recorded and no one can change it, and that information can be applied to track that if those are being followed or not. And also the litigation and settlement, like it can save time and increase the transparency. So these are the some of the applications for the law people. I hope some of you are here. If in the medical services, this is very much being considered as a technology to support the medical services. It can relate in the healthcare data exchange and interoperability, or claiming and adjusting the billing management, or drug supply chain, that how it uh, is manufactured in the pharmaceutical companies. Then you can record where how it is being distributed to the pharmacies in the world, and how they are going to the patients, and even patients are taking, so all can be tracked and traced. And clinical trials and population health research, so you can use it for your health research related to the uh, people. You can record the information related to your intellectual properties or research and development assets. And also the term is getting popular, IoMT, Internet of Medical Things and Cybersecurity. So obviously blockchain is part concept of cybersecurity, and it works very good with other security disciplines and the Internet of Medical Things, which is using the sensors in the medical devices, and it can record all the information for the medical devices, which cannot be alterable. No one can change it, no one can create problem. Then we see some applications in the business administration, that obviously the digital currencies are related to businesses, which we have discussed a lot, which can relate to e-commerce payments, global payments, remittances, peer-to-peer lending, and the microfinance. So very big industry for the business people for blockchain. As record keeping sector, it can belong to anyone, all the disciplines, whether you are in the agriculture field, whether you are in the healthcare field, all the record keeping services can be provided for you from the blockchain. And the securities like equity, private markets, debt, crowdfunding, and derivatives. And the smart contracts, it can again apply to all the disciplines where you want to keep the contracts, you want to enforce all the rules of the contract between your contractors. Once any rule is violated, automatically blockchain will stop the contract, and it will not allow the information transaction to happen. So this can apply to digital rights like intellectual properties or wagers or the escrow. So these are disciplines, these are the applications for business administration. Obviously business expands to many horizons, so but it can apply to other disciplines which are our focus as well. In engineering, you can think of blockchain, that obviously when you are building the, for example here for the civil engineer people, or so the electrical or any other discipline where you have some owners, so you also have the contracts. So between the people, with the owners, with the funding bodies, with the engineers, with the contractor, or with the fabricator and transporter. So all that information can be tracked and traced related to any project, and based on the different smart contracts, the rules which you want to apply to all of them, that information can be uh, managed through the smart contracts. Another example I would like to give here, for example, for the uh, develop like the civil engineer people, especially the site information, position of a beam through the GPS, that information on site can be recorded. Then the BM model is there as built update, and then all these updates are recorded and logged, and they are secure. No one can change those information, and the smart contracts enforce all these rules, and your GPS information, your BIM updates are recorded, and payments and following the task order can be recorded with the blockchain. So we have seen many applications. Obviously, there are a lot. I had very limited time. I cannot specifically discuss the research issues when I explain the blockchain concept, as well as discussing the applications in very limited time. But that's why we are here to help you, inshallah. So the question first is here, why blockchain is so powerful? That why it is being accepted by all the disciplines for building their applications for their projects, and that's why it is open for multidisciplinary research. What are the reasons? That is the characteristics or the properties of the blockchain. Blockchain, as you know, it's called distributed ledger technology. So first of all, the one power is distributed, that the processing of the approval of the transaction, approval of the information is distributed, that many people participate in ensuring that transaction is safe. And then another property is immutable, that if any record is added, is validated, it's irreversible. No one can change it. Once the record is become part of the blockchain, it is secure. Also, it is timestamped, that at what time the transaction happened, what time the communication happened between the nodes, what time the watering happened for your plants, what time, for example, the evidence was collected for the law enforcement. So all that information is timestamped. It is unanimous that all network participants agree to the validity of the record. It is anonymous. You don't know who is part of the network because you are identified from your identity only, not from your real name. So it is anonymous. Obviously, it is secure, and that is the most powerful thing in the blockchain, that all the records are secure. They are encrypted. No one can manipulate them from the power of the cryptography. And it's programmable, that it can be programmed for your needs. The blockchain can be modified for your needs according to your application, the smart contracts. So this is the characteristics that make blockchain really a powerful technology, and that's why it is being used in the world by all the disciplines to develop their applications. So just to highlight from all these things which I have highlighted, it is in your mind now. And now we discuss briefly a case study of the blockchain, that how it works. So blockchain supply chain management is considered as the best application for blockchain, and it can apply to all the disciplines, from manufacturer till the retail shop or the customer who takes it. So for example, the certificate of origin, and then you can match the batch numbers, and you process the data, and that information is recorded in the blockchain. Then the shipment date, order number, HSS code, barcode, all again become part of the blockchain. And blockchain smart contracts are continuously monitoring that whether to match the supplier, order, invoice, shipment, that what was recorded here, is it the same number being used in the later on process in the process by the other inventors. So that quality check is against applied, and they pay the supplier. So similarly, then the certificate of origin, the batch number, production data is managed in the factories. Then again, in the other process, when you're transmitting the data, or transmitting the product, the order, the shipment date, order number, temperature, the barcode can be recorded. For the transportation, again, all the same information is recorded and continuously being monitored by the smart contracts, that all rules are being followed for the working of the system. And then the received data, the pick date when it was received by the maybe the seller or maybe the warehouse, and the package specification, barcode, and then at the end when it is available for selling, for example, the receive date, order number, invoice number. So all that information is there. So this is a very good example that how the information is monitored at different phases in the supply chain management. But this can again apply to all the discipline, for all the processing, whatever project you have. So how the CCSIT is interested in this interdisciplinary research? So Alhamdulillah, in CCSIT, we have many experts who are experts in the Internet of Things, in the artificial intelligence and security. These technologies are being seen as the building block of our future industry and smart cities. And that is driving force for today's research for different disciplines. So obviously blockchain works very good with artificial intelligence, with Internet of Things, and it is secure. So CCSIT, we want to collaborate with all of you who is interested on any interdisciplinary research where you think that artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, smart cities, or the blockchain can be used for your project. You can discuss with us. We are here to discuss and formulate the requirements for your field of application. We can work closely to analyze the problem. We can design a system for you which will be based on blockchain, which will be obviously your research problem, which will work together. We can implement the system, we can simulate the behavior of your project, emulate it, and get the result which can be used in our research. And then inshallah, we can publish, we can complete the projects together. So this is all about a very brief overview of blockchain technology. And I hope, inshallah, you have enjoyed and you have understood the concept of blockchain in non-technical manner. So thank you very much, and we're looking forward to work closely with all of you, inshallah. Thank you. And this is some of the contents which I have taken the contents. There are some more as well, but it's, I have tried to add the sources for all the pictures which I have collected from the internet and from the company's website. So I have mentioned them, so you can visit them for more information. And thank you very much. If you have any questions now. Yes, Dr. Salah, what is the protocol now? Thank you for your question, Muhammad Abdul Latif Zaid. Yeah, so if any business wants to use the blockchain, there are different softwares, and even though the programming languages, the traditional programming languages have also started to support the development of the blockchain, like Java, C#, Python, and the other platforms like Ethereum and some other from the IBM. There are many platforms available for different types of applications. So yeah, if you want to discuss more, we can discuss, inshallah. Yes, any other question? Okay. Yes, any question? We are here to help you to discuss your research idea or any question. Okay, doctor. Thank you very much all. So guide me, Dr. Salah and Dr. Zafar, what's up next?
Thank you very much, Doctor, for the wonderful presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation, although it was a new idea for me, but it's a wonderful idea. I mean, it's the future of everything.